Welcome to The Leading Edge, Conversations with Saskatoon's Leaders. Hello, I'm Dave Hagel, and I'm your host. The focus of this show is on leadership. What is it? How does it work? What makes a leader tick? What are the advantages of being a leader? To explore these and other questions, I've invited guests from Saskatoon to share their perspectives on leadership. Our guests come from a wide variety of professions and backgrounds. Some come from the public, private and not-for-profit sectors. Others come from the entertainment and sports sectors. And yet we've got other people who don't belong to a particular organization or sector, and they've demonstrated leadership on a personal level. So if you're a new leader, stay tuned. We've got some tips and tools that will help you advance your career to the next level. And if you're already a leader, stay tuned. We've got some really interesting conversation for you. My guest was born and raised in England and came to Saskatoon in 2006. Since then, she's won a number of business awards, including the 2014 Women of Distinction Award for Entrepreneurship. She's currently the committee chair for $100,000 in 100 Days by 100 Women. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Sara Wheelwright.
Hi.
Hi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Dave.
So tell us about the leadership roles that you have in the community right now.
Well, I mean, it's, I guess there's a few. Because my business is fairly new, I'm in my fourth year, you know, it's one of the things I'm learning is you've got to learn to say no. I started off kind of getting involved in the community in Saskatoon with the Princess Shop, which was founded by Chantal Hanger, who's a client of mine, and Ainsley Robinson. And what I liked about that was that it was kind of really grassroots. I mean, the bigger charities really have a lot of people already working for them. So when I look to work with a community association or a charity, I tend to look for ones that, you know, are really centered here in Saskatoon. Habitat for Humanity speaks to me on so many levels. It really does. You see the dollar that you give where it goes. The 100 Women in 100 Days, which is an initiative that I was involved with in Regina a number of years ago, and I have been every year since, is basically a group of 100 ladies getting together, each of us raising or donating $1,000 to try and get to that $100,000 target. And that's the magic number for building a house for Habitat for Humanity. We kind of do many things, including fundraising, events, as well as just kind of writing checks as well. We're not averse to that. And, you know, I really enjoy that side. You know, people give because, you know, it's great that you see the things happening, but you also get something back from that yourself. Being an immigrant to Saskatchewan, it's given me so much, so it's important for me to give back as well.
So is being a community supporter something new that's in your life that you were just introduced to when you came to Saskatoon, or is that something that you brought with you?
I would say that I've been in a position to really have a little bit more time, and really it was important for me as well for my roots, you know, to put them down here. And community involvement is a big part of that. You know, Saskatoon is booming, and that's great, but it also comes, you know, with a downside as well. And certainly as a business owner, I think that most business owners, you know, not just myself, understand that, you know, you really should get involved in community and really should give back, whether that be sponsoring sports teams, picking specific community organizations to get involved with, donating time, or just, you know, stroking checks, I guess. Mm-hmm.
So what are the aspects of leadership that you enjoy the most?
I think what I enjoy the most is probably the teaching aspect. I really enjoy imparting knowledge and watching people, especially with my role. So my business is an online advertising business with a marketing agency attached, and especially in the last, I would say, 5 years, the online marketing and marketing as a whole as an industry has shifted dramatically. And that's left a lot of small to medium local business owners a bit confused, you know, about the internet and social media and all of these things. So when I have those aha moments with people, when I'm able to explain something that seems overcomplicated and something that they really don't know about, and the ball drops, you know, that really gives me a lot of pleasure, and that's probably the thing that I enjoy the most about it.
On the flip side of the coin, what are the aspects of leadership that you find challenging?
I would say that it's always difficult to deal with conflicts. I think that you know, there's never a right way to do it. I mean, you've got to be transparent. You've got to kind of really deal with things up front as quickly as you can. But, you know, I'm learning more and more about different personality types and how to handle them. But I think, you know, you can't beat honesty. But it's always uncomfortable moments that you grow as an individual, as a business owner, as a leader, and I think that as long as you hold on to that, that you're going to do well.
Mm-hmm. So you're telling me that as a leader, you really can't avoid those uncomfortable situations that you need to address?
Unless you want to be manning a ship by yourself, no. I mean, if you've got other people that you have to deal with, if you actually want to go somewhere meaningful, then you have to be prepared for those difficult situations, because they're going to come up. Every day is a Monday when you're a business owner, including a Saturday and a Sunday.
So what tips would you offer to people for dealing with conflict? Because conflict is here, it's going to stay, it's not going to go away.
Where possible, don't email backwards and forwards. That would be the first thing. You know, people really do feel that email gives them a barrier, and I think once you're actually face to face with somebody and looking somebody in the eye, you can't really misinterpret the tone. If you're going to be speaking to somebody, plan beforehand, you know, what you want to get across. Emotion, for me, has no business, you know, in business, but that's my personality. I understand that other people, you know, everything is emotional, you know, so, you know, I can't just deal with them logic-wise if they're going to be fully emotional, because we're just going to clash. So you have to listen to the people that you're talking to. You have to acknowledge them. You know, it's not really a right or a wrong, it's two different opinions. And I think that amicable resolution means that not everybody gets what they want.
Did you feel that you had leadership skills at an early age, or are you a latecomer to the game? When did you know you were a leader?
You know, I always had this feeling that I was going to be something, and it was going to be business orientated. I was always good at sports when I was younger, and in England, like team captain in the houses for sports and things like that. But I guess, you know, this is really something that I've grown into, and it's interesting when you look back. I mean, I'm not really a superstitious person, but those people that say, you know what, everything happens for a reason. You know, I really feel as if when I look back at my life, times where I wasn't really understanding why that had to happen, you know, trying to work out what I could have done to change it. If I'd changed those things, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I think that I always felt I was destined to lead and always been comfortable in that position, but I don't think leaders are born. I think that they're created by experiences.
Mm-hmm. And what are the experiences that shaped you?
I think adversity is a big shaper, and it doesn't necessarily have to be business-wise. I think, you know, if you go through personal adversity and come out at the other end, learning from the lessons, I think that certainly helps you, because you can empathize more with people. I think if you have nothing bad happen to you, you'll be a bad leader. I really believe that. Mm-hmm. You have to fail in order to succeed, I think, in leadership as well. And I think as well, I've had some great leaders that have been my bosses in the past, and great leaders, you know, within sporting environments. And even now, you know, I do have some great women and men, you know, around me that I look to and take from them. You know, I don't think there's many new ideas. I think what you do is you really build a platform based on bringing in what feels right for you, but also taking a little bit from other people as well.
So what are the biggest things you learned from these beacons of leadership, for lack of a better term, that were in your life?
I think that patience, which doesn't come naturally to me, I think that's important. You know, just because you want it to happen right now doesn't mean that it will. An example would be the SABEX and the ABEX Awards. I've been finalist many times, and this last year was the year that we actually won. Pretty much won everything last year. It was like, okay, that was great. And I was talking to Deb Wiegers, actually, from Wiegers Financial, and she came up to me after the ABEX Awards and said, you know, congratulations, that was great. And, you know, they'd got through to the finals for the first time and they hadn't won. And she's like, oh, you know, I don't know how I would feel about going through that again. And I said, you know what, Deb, if you won it first time, wouldn't mean as much. It wouldn't mean as much. It means more to me now, 3 times being here, than it did if I'd won it the first time.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that leaders have is a vision. They know where they're going, and without a vision, it's really hard to take people with you. It's hard for people to follow if they don't know where they're going.
Yes.
What's your vision as a leader?
I'd say that my vision, in leadership, I've got to be careful that I don't run ahead of everybody else, I really see the big picture, and I can work out a logical pattern to get there, but I do have to stop and explain it to the people who I'm relying on to get me there, because it doesn't just happen by yourself. You have to have a team of people around you to make big visions happen. And what's the point in thinking small and having small vision? I think, the most important thing for me is to look at the success of my business, and also be able to get a balance of, business success and personal success. And that means, prioritizing family where it needs to be and business where it needs to be, and having an equal balance. That doesn't come easily, especially in the first few years of being a business owner. And I think, as a leader in the community, you have to be prepared, as I said, to say no. You can't please everybody. I get lots of requests to help with organizations and use my networks, and if I did everything I was asked to, then I simply wouldn't be able to be successful, and I wouldn't really be doing a good example for everybody else.
I want to go back to something you said before. You talked about this conflict that you have with wanting to get things done and patience.
Yeah.
Isn't that sort of a normal conflict for entrepreneurs? Because entrepreneurs tend to be hard charging, let's get things done, let's get results. Isn't that sort of a inherent conflict that they have?
I think it is, and I think that as long as you understand that, I think one of the best things you can do is really get to know yourself and understand and recognize the flaws that you have, and you can almost turn those weaknesses into strengths if you're honest with them. I think too many leaders and too many entrepreneurs can hide their bad stuff or their stuff that they think is negative, when really they should be. It's easy to do everything that you do well all the time. That's what we like to do as people, really. Why do something that you're crap at? Do something that you're good at, then you're good. But I think if you work on getting those things that you're not that good at and getting them better, you're never going to be excellent at them, but getting them better and, leaning on other people to help you do that, especially within your organization, I say that, I'm not always right, and I'm not always the one that has to come up with the ideas. And if you feel that you can see a better way of doing it, then come and tell me about it. My company's not so big. If we like it, I'll be like, yeah, let's do that. Let's change it. So it's recognizing, that your ideas aren't always the best ideas.
You're watching The Leading Edge, Conversations with Saskatoon's Leaders. My guest is Sara Wheelwright, and we'll be back in 1 minute.